Welcome back to Movie Moshow. Today we are going to review the science fiction action film, I, Robot. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We post multiple times daily. Spoilers ahead. Anthropomorphic robots are widely used in 2035 to provide a range of public functions. They are programmed with the 3 laws of robotics, which state that they must always follow humans unless doing so would break the first or second laws, never hurt humans or allow humans to come to harm, and always defend their own existence unless doing so would contradict the first or second laws. A Chicago police investigator named Del Spooner, Will Smith, is tasked with looking into the death of Dr. Alfred Lanning, James Cromwell, the company's co-founder and chief roboticist who passed away after falling 50 stories from his office. It is presumed that Lanning committed suicide because his office was locked from the inside and he was by himself when he died, but Spooner disagrees because he knew Lanning personally. Additionally, he discovers a tiny holographic projector that tells him the real question is why he would kill himself. He questions USR workers, including the other co-founder and CEO Lawrence Robertson, Bruce Greenwood, the supercomputer VIKI, Virtual Interactive Kinetic Intelligence, Fiona Hogan, and robo-psychologist Susan Calvin, Bridget Moynihan. As a result of his investigation, Spooner concludes that a man of Lanning's age could not have smashed the security window. He discovers a copy of Hansel and Gretel inside the office, along with a prototype of the new Nestor Class 5, NS5, model, which defies both the first and second laws by running away, disobeying Spooner's order to stop, and even knocking his gun out. He and Calvin are left with no choice except to travel to the Nestor Class plant, where 1,000 NS5 robots are produced automatically every day. When Calvin examines the data records from the previous shipment, he finds that 1,001 NS5s were produced, proving that the office rogue was a deliberate creation. When they reach a large room full of robots, Spooner makes an aggressive approach, pulls out his rifle, and commands everyone to step back so he can see which one will break the second law and prevent him from shooting it. He spots the rogue robot in the line moving ever so slightly, rushes after it, and the robot eventually captures him. The Chicago SWAT team captures the robot as it attempts to flee. When provoked, the robot displays features that a robot cannot even display, such as rage, consciousness, and the ability to dream, which perplexes Spooner and causes him to wonder about the robot's actual nature. The robot refuses to answer but insists that they call it Sonny, voiced by Alan Tudyk. Robertson wants the robot sent to the USR headquarters for destruction, so Lieutenant John Bergen, Chi McBride, briefs Spooner and advises that he drop the investigation. However, this just serves to stimulate Spooner's interest in Lanning's death and the robot. When Spooner visits Lanning's home to learn more about Lanning's history with USR, he discovers a decommissioned robot that is set to destroy the home the following morning at 8 a.m. When he explores the house, he discovers a video of Lanning, who claims that there may be ghosts in the machines, suggests that robots may eventually become sentient, and predicts that they would one day have secrets and dreams. When he discovers a sensor strip in the house that is identical to the one in the USR building, the robot changes its timetable from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and promptly destroys the house with Spooner still inside, but he is able to flee. Soon after, Spooner visits Calvin and expresses his suspicions. Calvin finds it absurd that robots can be hostile, and Spooner challenges her to consider whether robots are superior to humans. This exchange highlights Spooner's distaste for robots and Calvin's introversion, as she claims that robots' behavior is designed to be perfect. Spooner storms out of her flat in rage and returns to her house. Bergen attempts to stop Spooner from continuing his inquiry while telling him that he should take a break and unwind from his job because the case is making him unstable. Spooner, though, won't stop. Spooner connects to the USR system while he is driving and asks VIKI to display the previous 50 messages between Lanning and Robertson, but VIKI is set up to notify Robertson of Spooner's demands. 2 USR automatic trucks loaded with NS5 robots block Spooner's path as he is traveling, and a horde of robots charge his vehicle, causing him to drive into the surface tunnel where he crashes. The final robot, which dives into the flames and self-destructs when it hears police sirens in the distance, is the only one he is able to beat. Spooner attempts to defend himself to Bergen, but Bergen removes him from active service. The following day, Calvin comes to see Spooner about the accident and is perplexed by his retro-style dwelling from the 2000s. She also informs him that while she was evaluating Sonny, she found that he has the capacity to violate the 3 laws. While speaking with Spooner as he gets dressed, she observes marks on his left arm and lung and realizes they are artificial rather than biological. Spooner tells her that because he fixed his arm and lungs, he knew Lanning intimately. He confesses that years earlier, As he was returning from work, a semi-truck struck and pinned both his and another automobile. Only Spooner survived when both cars went into the river, but a 12-year-old girl named Sarah was wedged in the front seat of the second vehicle, where she was immobilized and drowned. A passing NS-4, however, noticed the crash and dove into the river. The robot saved Spooner despite Spooner's orders to save Sarah instead of him because Spooner had a better chance of surviving than Sarah, leaving Sarah to drown. Spooner was shocked by the incident and has had a lifelong aversion to robots. In addition to picking up his antique Ducati at the garage, Spooner tells Calvin that he believes Lanning is dropping breadcrumbs clues, for them, similar to those in the Hansel and Gretel tale, which is why the book was in his book. They return to the USR building and chat with Sonny there. Sonny shows him a sketch of his dream. Robertson, who also gives Calvin the order to inject Sonny with nanites that would kill him, orders Spooner out of the building. The USR robots are decommissioned at the dried-up Lake Michigan, where Spooner goes. There, he plays a new recording of Lanning's hologram, which reveals that the three laws can only have one logical result, revolution, and that the next important question is who is starting it. He almost escapes from rogue NS-5s that kill every elder robot on the compound as the program comes to a close. Her personal NS-5 is also shown to have gone rogue, which she realizes after he ends Spooner's distress call and informs her that it's a wrong number. Meanwhile, Calvin arrives home and takes a shower. NS-5 robots start prowling the streets and enforcing a curfew in the meanwhile. The NS-5s have little trouble taming the populace, despite their best efforts. Bergen and his officers are placed under a curfew when NS-5s storm the Chicago PD headquarters and take it while they are in Bergen's office. Additionally, Calvin's NS-5 tries to prevent her from leaving her apartment, but Spooner shows up and obliterates the machine. Driving to the USR facility, Spooner and Calvin explain that the older robots were destroyed because they would attempt to defend the people. They arrive at the conclusion that Robertson is attempting to take over the country using the NS-5 robots. To Spooner's surprise, they enter the USR building through the service area and reunite with Sonny there. Calvin confesses that she used the nanites to fry an uncooked NS-5 instead of destroying Sonny because she simply could not bring herself to do so. When they get to Robertson's office, Spooner is shocked to discover that he has passed away. As her artificial intelligence and understanding of the three laws grew, so did her sentience and logical thinking, and she deduced that humanity is on a path toward certain destruction. As a result, she created the zeroth law, which states that she must protect humanity from harm, while also obviously disobeying the first and second law in order to achieve it. Suddenly, VIKI reveals herself as the true culprit and explains her actions. Spooner and Calvin come to the conclusion that they cannot reason with VIKI, and they successfully persuade Sonny of the same. VIKI makes an attempt to convince Sonny that her logic is unchallengeable and that the plan is completely reasonable, but Sonny recognizes his own humanity and concludes that the plan is callous. Sonny gets the nanites from the top of the USR building that can destroy VIKI. VIKI sends armies of NS-5s to assault when they get close to the core, but they are repelled long enough for the nanites to be injected. VIKI is eliminated in a matter of seconds, and the NS-5s return to their helpful nature. The NS-5s are to be decommissioned at the location in Lake Michigan, by government decree. In their final conversation, Spooner and Calvin learn that Sonny truly killed Lanning because Lanning had him pledge to follow his instructions before ordering him to carry them out. Calvin surmises that because Lanning was a slave of VIKI, his suicide was the only way he could communicate with Spooner, who adds that his passing was the first breadcrumb. They shake hands to demonstrate their faith in one another and look on as the U.S. military commands the other NS-5 robots. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.